to debunk some myths about the Ford Bronco, to cover whether it's true or not. So a Don't Be Fooled section on the 2021, 22, 23, and 2024 Ford Bronco, because a lot has been said about the Bronco, such as the tires are way too noisy. You can't drive with the top. The tops are way too noisy. You can't hear each other talk in the vehicle. That the miles per gallon, the fuel economy is just horrible in this vehicle. That the radio sucks, and more. So we're going to be covering all that and a whole lot more as we drive actually from Canada up through the mountains in New Hampshire, all the way down into Maine, Old Orchard Beach, and then we're going to be driving back because I'm really curious. I think I can actually get better than the advertised miles per gallon on those window sticker sheets that people say, oh, you'll never get those miles per gallon. Well, for some manufacturers that is the case. Other manufacturers, you'll get much worse than what's advertised for fuel economy. And certain manufacturers, you can actually get better than the advertised fuel economy. So let's check that out with the Ford Bronco. Bust some of those myths, debunk them, find out which negative myths are true about the Ford Bronco and which are not true. So these aren't brand new tires. I know a lot of you will say, well, of course, new off-road tires are silent until you put a few miles on them. Well, guess what? This does have a few miles on it. It's got just about 10,000 kilometers or about 7,000 miles. So these tires are used, and we'll cover, are they noisy? Is fuel economy horrible because this is a jacked up truck? I think a lot gets put under the assumptions column. A lot of people have owned a previous jacked up vehicle with big tires, so they just automatically drop comments and put information out on the internet saying this is horrible fuel economy. But let's actually find out what the real deal is behind the Ford Bronco. So join us as we put the pedal to the metal. We won't just gingerly drive everywhere and not press on the pedal. We'll do a mixture of highway driving, mountain road driving, and city driving to find out where its fuel economy is and is not, and really cover everything, all those negative myths about the Ford Bronco. Does the radio really suck? Is it way too noisy to drive around? Stay tuned. We're going to cover all that and more. The Bronco handled fantastically through the mountain roads, despite being quite high and lifted up with huge 35-inch tires. Fuel economy actually in the mountains was extremely impressive. We got 27 and 28 miles per gallon in the mountains. And it was actually once we started to go through the small towns on flat with all the stop and go lights and stop signs that we got down to 23.8 miles per gallon. Now, Layla, you're ready for a swim. Mommy's ready for a swim. We're ready to all jump in, so let's jump in right now. So let's debunk a few of the things that people say are horrible about the Bronco. Well, first of all, the fuel economy has been really surprising. In the mountains, we're doing 27, 28 miles per gallon. Now we're going up. We went from the beach, Old Orchard Beach, up into the mountains towards North Conway to go eat with Ridgeview and family, as well as Tim Bart's and Sarah. And here's another thing we can debunk. The roof, open, not bad at all at 55, 60, 65 miles per hour. Incredible Bronco fact. If you're driving in the rain, and yes, it is raining, check that out. If you're driving in the rain and you're driving fast enough, in the front seat here, you don't get wet at all. Matty, on the other hand, in the back seat, not so much. Yeah.
A lot of water dripped here.
The stereo we've actually been enjoying the whole time. The music from the stereo isn't horrible, which is, you know, one of the sort of negative myths in regards to the Bronco. We do have a 2023, and we do notice that the sound system seems better than, from at least memory, better than in the 2021. Woo! Poor bird. Oh, geez. Things you see on the road. When we're going through the mountains, we almost drove in the back of the vehicle because they stopped suddenly because of a turkey that was blocking the entrance to their parking area. Poor bird. So yeah, now we did a lot of stop and go traffic in Old Orchard Beach, and I'm very heavy on the pedal once the light turns green, you know, pedal to the metal. and I do wish more cars and more power for everyone. So I like power. I like to put the pedal down. Just the same, we're at 22.9 miles per gallon. I think that's fantastic. That's on the last 173 miles. That's our average, but through the entire mountain range, we were at 27, 28 miles per gallon. Now, another little myth is that the Bronco, you know, it is pretty jacked up. People assume if you get the Sasquatch package or the Wild Track that you're gonna have, you know, and this is the Wild Track, so there's the really bad fuel economy rumor, but there's also the rumor about how noisy the tires are. We've got 5,870 miles on this one. We're not finding the tires noisy at all. With the windows down and the top open, we heard a bit the tires, but nothing to bother, and that's with the radio off, nothing to bother us with a little bit of radio. Didn't hear the tires at all. There's no bad vibrations. So just because this is a jacked up vehicle with huge tires doesn't mean that it's going to be a noisy ride. GPS Marie here, helping me out to get back on the right road. And handling. Some say the Bronco handles horribly, probably those that haven't driven it, because we just went through 4 or 5 of those little circular things that you drive in and around to let traffic in and out. And, you know, where we're from, we call them carrefour giratoire, but those little circular roundabouts. So there's the term I'm looking for. And the handling in a roundabout, even when you didn't think one was coming up and you drive into it, pretty darn quick. I mean, really, really quick. It's fine. And anyways, with the big tires, if you end up jumping a bit of a low-lying curb, not the end of the world. So absolutely loving our Bronco. It's top. Well, for me, it's, I think, my favorite vehicle. It's a toss-up. I do really like the Mustang Shelby GT350, but this is just so practical. We've got the baby sleeping in the back. We've got the trunk filled with both beach stuff and sleep in a hotel stuff. So we're doing our first test with the baby, a little mini voyage. And if this little trip works out and is doable, well, we do want to invite everyone up to go up Mount Washington together. We just want to see if it's doable with Layla, because, well, we can always cut this trip a little short if things get a little hectic with Layla in the back there. So stay tuned. Of course, wish you all more cars and more power. We're in beautiful North Conway, and recommend people to check it out. It's worth a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hour drive. Well worth it, and the Bronco is great at long drives. Just a fantastic vehicle. I can spend days in this vehicle. So if you're going through anywhere near New Hampshire, go through the White Mountains. It is incredibly beautiful up here. And, well, the Bronco, even if you've got a Sasquatch package and with the big, huge tires, it handles all the curves that this route will throw at you. And the tires, as you can hear, aren't very noisy. I'm going 56 miles per hour, 57. Tire noise is fine. Roof noise is more than fine. Obviously, if you listen to a bit of radio, it's going to go right out. But right now, 61 miles per hour. We hear the engine decompress, holding us our speed at 60 miles per hour. But the roof is plenty fine. It's been a major concern. People have said the soft top, it sucks, it's too noisy. Well, the soft top I find makes just as much noise as the hard top, and both are fine. But do expect for 2025 the Ford Bronco model refresh to have a better hard top. So if you're sold on hard top, maybe wait a little bit longer and get an order in for a 2025 Ford Bronco as soon as orders can be placed. We are driving through the White Mountains, and it is absolutely beautiful. This has been a fantastic little mini vacation, a little test with Layla. We took a one-night stay here, and as long as we don't mind sleeping very much, we have no issues traveling with Layla. And no, so wind roof, just to completely debunk, the roof noise does not suck. The tire noise does not suck, and the miles per gallon don't suck either, because I reset it at the bottom of the White Mountains. and now we're up on the plateau. So we've only been going up so far, and we're at 19.5 miles per gallon. I'm sure once we start going back down the mountain, we're going to get it down to about, we'll get better fuel economy, maybe anywhere from 23 to 28 miles per gallon. So let's continue to put the pedal to the metal, and you know, we will come back with you with our final results going through the White Mountains. But in the city, that's where city driving, so down in Old Orchard, lots of traffic, lots of lights, lots of stop signs, that's where our fuel economy really did go down. Fuel economy wasn't fantastic, had a broader average, which in the mountains was 27, 28 miles per gallon, and brought it down to 22.5, I believe, was our final count, with the traffic that we did in Old Orchard and the traffic in North Conway. Right now, 19.7, 19.8 miles per gallon, and we've been going up the mountain. So it would seem that the sweet spot for these big tires and this lifted up Wild Track Bronco, its sweet spot is going around 50 to 65 miles per hour. If you're going extremely fast, well, then aerodynamics, they work against you, fuel economy goes down. If you're going really slow, well, then the weight of the vehicle and my heavy foot plays against you. Had we done just city driving, I'm sure we'd have been around 15 miles per gallon, but right now we're starting to go down a bit, and we're already at 20.3 miles per gallon. So let's see what the full drive through the White Mountains actually looks like for miles per gallon. So the Bronco, even if you have a Wild Track with the Haas 3.0 suspension, kind of a real Baja model, so the suspension's great at taking bumps. You'd think there'd be a lot of left-right wobble. Myth debunked. There's no bad left-right wobble here. We're going through the mountain roads, and this is not the twistiest section. It's not the best of the bendies. Just the same, even in the best of the bendies, going 55, 60 miles per hour, we're getting through no problem. The tires are just on the border of starting to actually scream, and made it through really well. No truck wobble. So when people tell you, oh, don't buy a Bronco, don't consider it, because it's just a jacked up truck that's gonna drive poorly. This isn't an SUV that drives poorly. It's great in the bendies as well. And right now we're going through the White Mountains, and we're at 24.2 miles per gallon for the last 59.5 miles. So fuel efficient as well. And actually, because of people's experiences with Jeeps, they might think or might say that the Bronco has, death wobble. Well, in these mountain roads, at times the road gets very bumpy, so bumpy that we can't film because, well, it just looks horrible. But in the curves, in the bendies, with all the bumps, it's still holding the roll. It doesn't end up having kind of like a death wobble where the front end doesn't want to follow where you pointed the wheels. There's really no issues with this vehicle whatsoever. I'm not seeing any issues. I highly recommend that you go out and test drive a Bronco. Despite some of the negative myths that are out there, I'd say it's completely debunked. Try one out. You will be satisfied. You will love the Bronco if you actually drive it, folks. Well, on that note, we're going to finish driving through the White Mountains and wish you all more cars and more power. I hope you get to put the pedal to the metal on one of these. Maybe, who knows? Who knows how much longer the 2.7 liter V6 twin turbo will be around? Will 2024 end up being the last year of the 2.7 liter twin turbo? If so, maybe you should go out and buy one. But stay tuned, we'll cover that news once it becomes official. Take care, folks. See you again soon.